Even as I watched Baba going round the devotees, he was answering my suspicions, doubts, and queries. This is what Karanjia says. Was he the patron Swamiji of the wealthy and the powerful few against the poor masses? This was the doubt he had. Was Swami only for the rich people? No. He went first to the common people, most of them from the peasant stock. Next, he beckoned a few of them, a dozen men and another dozen women, to a private interview, helping them with his own hands into the room. So straight away Swami starts with the poor people. I watched the drama very closely. Those he chose were from the poorest and the weakest sections, some of them physically ill, and at least one mentally sick boy. I do not know what happened in the closed room, but from the look on their faces when they came out, they all seemed to be in a relaxed, happier condition. So this is the impact an interview with Swami has. You go in with all your problems, and when you come out, you drop all your problems there at Swami's feet and come away happy. Next, Baba came out to take me in together with Bhagwantam and Indulal Shah. I could not help looking back, for on the other side were seated a number of wealthy devotees. Some of them were from Mumbai, and Mr. Karanjia also was from Mumbai. And what did he see? He saw first Swami took the poor people, and then he took him, and Dr. Bhagwantam and Indulal Shah, and those who were left behind were the wealthy devotees. They were getting the last attention. Some of them belonged to an industrial group devoted to Swami, who had lost the head of the family and whose widow had made Baba's ashram her home. Yet, they had to wait through the 2.5 hours of my interview. So the poor came first, the rich last, and in the middle was I, a skeptic, a critic, a Marxist, who had in the past openly questioned and criticized Sai Baba. So you see, this is the order in which Swami is attending to the people who come to him. I remember one occasion in Brindavan when Swami went on the gathering, and Swami came and stood in front of me and he said, Ravi, did you notice? See, inside Jyoti Basu is waiting for me. Jyoti Basu is a very famous chief minister of West Bengal. He is waiting for me. But I came first to see all the devotees. For me, devotees come first. That's what he said. As Baba told me, his spiritual revolution is broadly based on the fundamentals of the 3 W's: work, worship, and wisdom. Of course, these can be translated as karma, bhakti, and jnana. In the context of the absolute equality of human brotherhood, around me, I found illustrations aplenty of this doctrine. What did he find? He found examples. This was not just a dry philosophy, but he found that this whole thing was exemplified by people who were around. What are the examples? The lady sweeping the courtyard was a former Maharani, the Jind Rani. She used to sweep the courtyard in Prashanti Nilayam. The gentleman who attended to me was a magistrate who had resigned from judicial service to join the ashram. This was Mr. Kutumbarao. Mr. Kutumbarao was a magistrate, and when Swami asked him to come to the ashram, he dropped everything that he had and came straight away. The person who was translating between Baba and myself was India's foremost scientist. This is, of course, Dr. Bhagwantam. Then, the text of the interview. So, he goes to the interview right away. Swamiji, I would like to know something about your triple incarnation, past, present and future. That is, from Shirdi Sai Baba to Sathya Sai Baba and Prem Sai Baba to come. First of all, Swami says, first of all, you must grasp the complete oneness of the three incarnations of contemporary times with those of the past like Rama and Krishna. Of course, when Swami declared on the 23rd of May 1940, he said, I am Sai Baba of Shirdi, come again. Later on, Swami explained, he only quoted the latest example. He was the same Rama come again, he was the same Krishna come again. But he was mentioning Shirdi Baba because this was within human memory. 8 years after Shirdi Baba had taken Samadhi, Sathya Sai had come. So this was almost contemporaneous. This is a difficult task, of course. When people cannot understand the present, how can they comprehend the past? No, it's very difficult for us to understand. Sometimes we say, Swami does not look like Shirdi Baba. Shirdi Baba looks so different from Swami. Then how will we be able to accept Swami as Rama, Swami as Krishna? Because remember, the times were very different. Every incarnation is full and complete in relation to the time, the environment and the task. For that particular time, for that particular environment and for that particular task, that incarnation is the best suited. It's a designer-made incarnation, let's say. There is no distinction between the various appearances of God as Rama, Krishna or Sai. That's what Swami very clearly says. There's no distinction. Rama and Krishna and Sai are all the same. Rama came to feed the roots of truth and righteousness. Krishna followed to foster the plant of peace and love. Now these sacred principles are in danger of wholesale destruction by reason of human weakness under the onslaught of evil forces. They are overcoming the good, the spiritual and the divine in man. That is why the present incarnation has come invested with the totality of cosmic power to save dharma from adharma. So Swami says that he has come with a totality of cosmic power. He is not an Amshavata. He is a Purnavata. He has come with the fullness of the power because that is what is needed. As Swami used to say, if there in the town, let us say there's a small disturbance, a constable drops by and tries to settle the issue. If it becomes a slightly bigger problem, then the sub-inspector comes and he tries to resolve the issue. But if it's a riot or something of that kind, then the commissioner of police or the IGP himself or the superintendent of police himself comes to the scene and he takes control. So this is what happens at various times. If you see in our cultural history, in our spiritual history in Bharat, we find that at every time there are saints and sages who are coming in a sequentially. They keep on coming to feed the roots of Bhakti and karma. And when God finds that it is not enough if he sends the saints and sages, he personally comes to take charge of the situation. Skeptics wonder why God should assume a human form. This is what Karanjia asks. Why should God take a human form? Is it at all necessary? Swami says, because that is the only way to incarnate the God within man. Okay. God comes as man so that he can incarnate the God within man. The avatar takes the human form and behaves in a human way so that humanity can feel kinship with divinity. He comes down as a human being. Because if God were to proclaim laws, we would always find an escape route and say, because he is God, he is able to say all this, he does this, he does that. But when God comes down as man and lives out his message, Swami always says, my life is my message. When he lives out his message, you cannot use that escape route. Because with all the human limitations, he is able to practice that message which he proclaims to mankind. At the same time, he rises to godly heights. That is, the avatar rises to godly heights so that mankind also can aspire to reach God. In other words, Swami says the avatar is like an aeroplane. If the aeroplane is all the time in the sky, passengers cannot get in or get out of it, and therefore the aeroplane comes to the aerodrome and then lands so that people can get in and people can get out of the plane. So this is the purpose for which the avatar comes. Previous avatars like Rama and Krishna had to destroy a few individuals who could be identified as enemies of the godly way of life. In those days, evil was concentrated in individuals. So you just isolate the individuals and finish the individuals, the evil just gets rooted out. He says, but in my present avatar, I have come armed with the fullness of the power of the formless God to correct mankind. It's easy to destroy, but to correct, because in everyone we find good and bad. As Swami pointed out, in the Rama avatar, for instance, you see that on one side you have the saints and sages in the Dandakaranya forest, and then you find that the Rakshasas were there in one particular spot, and therefore Rama went there and killed them, and then came back. It was possible because the evil was identifiable in individuals like that. But in the Krishna avatar, it was there within the same family. The good and the bad came into the same family. Like you had Kauravas and the Pandavas. They were cousins. So Krishna had to be little more nuanced in his approach to destroying the... But in Kali Yuga, what has happened is the good and the bad, both are there in each and every individuals. And each of this dominate at a particular point of time. No person is fully good or no person is fully bad. In each of us, the good and bad shine to various extents, maybe on different seasons. So the avatar has to come. He has to come fully armed with the fullness of the power of the formless God to correct mankind, to raise human consciousness and put people back on the right path of Satya, Dharma, Shanti and Prema. These are the pathways which lead to God. So he has to raise human consciousness. He has to make people realize that they are not just this body. They are something more than this body. This body is just iron safe, as Swami says, in which the jewel of the Atma is kept. And when you identify yourself with the Atma, you realize that everyone else also is the Atma, and so everyone is a jewel. And therefore the unity of mankind can be brought about. Then the editor asked this question: why did this task have to be divided into the 3 avatars? Swami says, these 3 avatars are not separate. I have already mentioned the complete oneness of the 3 in the final objective of the mission. He says, you take a kilogram of jaggery. The whole of it tastes sweet. Break it into small pieces. Each of them tastes sweet. Break them further into small grains. You find that the same sweetness is there in them. So the difference is one of quantity and not quality. So Swami says this is a very beautiful illustration of the Upanishadic statement where we come across this Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamodashyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnamevavasishyate. I used to always imagine, how can it be that is complete, and from that complete you remove a part? What remains is complete, what you have taken out is also complete. How can it be? I used to wonder. And Swami gave this very beautiful explanation. We are thinking in quantitative terms. Actually, it should be thought in qualitative terms. You have a mound of jaggery and there is sweetness in it. You purchase a kilogram of jaggery and that also has the same sweetness in it. Now, just because you took out that 1 kilogram of jaggery does not mean that what is remaining behind is going to be bitter. That is also going to be sweet. And so this qualitative definition, the qualitative way of looking makes this Purnamada Purnamidam, this hymn, so beautifully understandable even to ordinary people like us. We will continue with this in the next session.